Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
Hey. Happy opening day for the Sacramento Kings. NBA season, of course, opened last night. We're coming to you from where, Phantom? Where are we?
This is right in the Golden One Center. It says right up on the top, Golden One
that's
Center
right.
there.
Yeah.
How could
Boy.
you not know where you are? It's opening night. Where else would we
Opening
be?
night. I mean, they took care of us. They got,
Gave us the sweet seats in the suites.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys remember? Any, opening day memories? You went to so many games, Kings fan. Remember the first opening night?
Yeah,
Sacramento?
I do remember. I barely remember the first opening night. We did enjoy ourselves before we got there, but I do remember that. I remember about that is obviously people coming in tuxedos. That was really kind of cool. And then just Derek Smith.
Derek Smith beat
So
us.
remember,
You know,
we
had
lost.
a-
Wait a minute. We just got a team and we lost our first game.
Yeah,
Can that happen?
Had a big lead, and like you say, or the tuxes, and I
Yeah, it was
remember Greg
nice.
Lukenbill with the tux and tennis shoes.
But
that's Luke.
That was
you
just
know?
about. That was the Kings in those
yeah,
days, right?
and then the court where the judge hits the.
Oh yeah, the Kings
did
Court.
that-
Yeah,
Kings
I know.
Court
Yeah.
did that for a while.
They had celebrities, right? And then they
Yeah.
kind of started running out of celebrities after a while. And
Mickey Spillane. I think it was Mickey Spillane or Mickey Spillane's gal. His on the Miller Lite commercials we had. Yeah, that's the kind of celebrity we
Tony
had.
Tennille, didn't
Yeah.
she do it once?
I believe Tony was there. Yes, and everybody, where's the captain? It was that's funny.
That's great.
because we were funny in those days.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
days,
those
yeah.
days we were funny. Yeah.
No, I definitely that's probably my biggest memory because it's first
Yeah.
and all the enthusiasm in the small building, 10,000. Just
I love that place.
Oh,
That
I
place
love
was
that
so
place.
great.
I mean, except to work in it. I mean, the games were great. To have an audit or an office with Willis and Bill Russell and me in the same office.
Kind of a cramped area there.
Woo! I tell you,
Two
about
large
went
gentlemen.
deaf with Bill's cackle. He just about cackled me to death.
Now, I would think one of the worst things about that night was that Derek Smith played so well. Joe Axelson decided he had to do whatever he needed to do to go out and get him the next year, right?
Yeah.
Became his
next
holy
year.
grail. Yeah, that was his mission in life. That guy's great. I got to have that guy. And
Well, it's going to be
We-
the
we
next.
got 'em, right,
It's going
Jerry?
to be take a step up because the team had made the playoffs that year. Actually, was
Yes.
7th place, but got swept by the Rockets with the Twin Towers and all that. And and like I say, that was a team that was kind of like this team. Very unselfish, liked one another. I mean, other than Reggie, but it,
I mean, you can't have it all. Sure,
no, but
yeah.
it worked out because he was the best and everybody knew he was
Yeah.
the best. So it
Was
all-
he selfish and didn't like anybody else, or just
No,
one of
no,
those?
he was selfish, but he liked everybody, and everybody liked him. He
Yeah,
was
so kind of
easy.
like this guy.
a little bit like
A little
him,
bit, but
a
he
little
was
bit.
talented.
Yeah,
okay.
except he had talent.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Virtually
so
carbon copy. Yeah.
yeah. So that team, I always said, if they left it alone,
Yeah, I love
just the continuity and the coach and everything, I think it'd been a 4 or 5 year run of playoffs for sure. We're talking playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Playoffs,
So,
yeah.
but they didn't, and just remember
The late
that.
Derek Smith, rest in
And-
peace.
Yeah, and at that time, if you'd have got that Derek Smith, it probably would have been almost. It might have been worth it. I'm not sure it would have, but it might have been. But you didn't get that when you got one that's coming off knee surgery and mononucleosis.
That's a bad combination.
Yeah.
I mean, you're complaining you went to the dentist
Yeah, I went to the-
yesterday.
I didn't even.
How about knee surgery and mononucleosis, huh?
I don't know. I might put tooth extraction up there right with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those deals too. We flip flop draft picks. Would have had it turned out third, I think, which was Charles Smith, I believe, and
Good player.
No disrespect, Harold, but Harold Presley was the pick, and certainly not as talented and all that. But giving up Mike Woodson and Larry Drew. And I mean, I could make the case, and I think most people would, that Mike Woodson's better than Derek Smith.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah, at that
Absolutely,
time,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
and then the franchise wandered a little bit in the wilderness for a few years after that.
it certainly did do some wandering, and and till '96, with Mitch and the boys, kind of got something going there for a couple of years, kind of.
But
yeah.
your fandom never waned, huh? all that time?
Oh yeah, absolutely waned. Are you kidding?
Oh,
me?
did wane a little
totally
bit?
waned.
Yeah.
That first team was so great. I mean, I know they aren't as weren't as successful as the 2002 team, or even as this team was last year. But that was a great team of characters and a great team to fall in love with. And if you're going to bring a team to a city that has never experienced, professional basketball, that was a great group of characters. I mean, we've talked to Eddie Johnson millions of times over the years, LaSalle Thompson, and like you say, Mike Woodson and everybody. Just a fantastic combination of characters. And then you take the mystique, if you will, of that small building. Just what an incredible atmosphere.
I was only in there once, but it was incredible.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And then you move on to the next building, which is nice, but it some of it leaves there. At least it did for me.
Yeah,
You lost a little bit.
You sure did. And then just like Golden One, I think you've lost a little
bit. Yeah.
It's obviously much better building, but the atmosphere. I always said the original Arco, the little one. I mean. Yeah, that'll never be matched.
It's sat fewer than 11,000.
10,333.
10,333.
With
and
four,
one of them for every game.
4 suites. Had one in each corner.
I never made it up to the suites.
I had 4 suites.
4 suites.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. That was well, and like say the dressing rooms, I always remember ours was tiny, but the visitors was like a bedroom. I'm serious. And the visiting teams would always come dressed and leave. They'd go back to the hotel. They wouldn't even try to.
The visitors in the next building wasn't especially huge either, was it?
Well, it was big, much bigger. It wasn't real nice either.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't treat them quite like the Boston Celtics, but it was close.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the old garden, but still, that was interesting times. Where players from the visitors would come into our locker room just to get certain things. I mean,
can I borrow your tape?
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
Yeah, and you were telling us, Jerry was telling us yesterday. The early days of the Kings, the practices, they didn't have a practice facility.
Yeah.
So they practice all over, and so you're practicing different places all the time. It's tough to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, to get everybody to the same building.
Exactly.
Same building, yeah.
Wasn't it Yuba College there for a while?
We did our camp up there, but our our practice facility during the season was either American River College, Cosumnes,
Oh, yeah.
Salvation Army,
There you go.
or the State Highway Patrol. They had a gym.
I think I've been to
I'm
that.
serious. Yeah, it's a deep.
I haven't been to the Salvation Army one, but I think I've been to the Highway
Guess who
Patrol.
showed up at the wrong gym for practice once?
Yeah, I mean, every day there'd be somebody not show. Would
Well,
be.
yeah, and you couldn't blame them.
And
Where
then
is
one
it
day-
today? Come on. Yeah, there's no texting in
and
those days.
I'd always get on their butts, and then all of a sudden it was me.
Did you just go to the wrong place and look for everybody?
Yeah,
Or,
that's
Hey.
yeah. So we tried to. I always remember we tried to make a deal with McClellan. They had a gym, and somebody out there was trying to work it for us, so where we could have that as a consistent.
Because there's a lot of space out there, right?
Yeah, and I mean they had a decent gym. I mean, it'd been no better than some of the other, but it would have been one spot.
Yeah.
and fairly close
Right.
to the arena, and for some reason it fell through. But we were really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And so, the good old days.
Yeah.
When they talk about the good old days, some of them weren't that damn good.
We practiced at the Highway Patrol today, guys. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting lost, Jerry told me a story yesterday I'd never heard before. If you don't mind me bringing it up,
No.
when Jeff Petrie came out to interview,
Oh,
and then when
yeah.
he was leaving, and you guys could see that he couldn't get out of the parking lot.
Yeah, he'd been hired actually, and and I was really, of course, in favor of that, and really said, which I knew Jeff would be good,
move, yeah.
would be good with Jim Thomas because, he was. Smart, really
Yeah.
smart, and opposite of me, would think things through before he blurted something out, as opposed to myself. It's like,
We love you for it.
yeah. But anyway, so we was up visiting. Rick Benner was the president at that time, and myself, who Jim wanted to keep, and then fortunately Jeff really wanted to keep, and actually gave me a raise, by the way. So which was nice.
yeah.
Of course,
Okay,
he,
all right,
he
yeah.
always said, "Well, you did kind of owe me."
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
That's true.
But anyway, had the meeting is over, and I was in Rick Benner's office, and we were looking out the window, and Jeff was in a rental car, getting ready to go to where he rented a place, for a while, and he just kept driving around the parking lot, and a lot of fans could identify that.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get out of
Absolutely,
this?
yeah.
Man, I told Rick, I said, this is the guy that's going to lead us out of the.
He can't even lead us out of the
He
parking
can't get
lot.
out of the parking lot. I told Jeff that. He said, "Yeah, I wasn't sure I ever would."
Yes, I can relate to that.
Yeah,
It's like, no,
absolutely.
the exit's
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there.
Yeah, that one's closed. Got to go that way.
Hey, yesterday had to be a great day for you, a great night for you, I would think, because both the Lakers and the Warriors lost on opening night.
Very joyful, very joyful. I mean, I got to admit, there was joyful. I mean, the Lakers just can't lose enough, and so that's a given.
Did you know that the Warriors are second on his dead to me list behind the
Oh,
Lakers?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I mean,
they moved-
I thought the Lakers just took the entire list.
Well,
yeah. I
yeah,
didn't know
the-
there was room for anyone else, actually.
Well, there hadn't been, but we made it. We make
So
exceptions.
the Warriors must have really inched their way in
Well,
there.
I mean, a lot of it's just envy.
Okay, well, that's- I
envy
can
and
see that.
pettiness and jealousy
Sure,
and all that.
absolutely.
I'm not, going to deny any of that because they've been truly great and fun to watch, and they got a bunch of good guys. I mean, there's everything. There's every reason
To
not,
resent them,
not to
yeah.
dislike them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's every reason to resent
Yeah,
them, too.
but yeah,
all you do is flip
know.
that over, and it's
Yeah.
resentment.
Yeah, just
That's
flip it. It's like,
yeah.
oh.
Respect, resentment. That's all you got to do.
That's all
Yeah.
you got to do. No, it's easier than I thought. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's
It's just simple.
simple. Yeah, find one little thing and you say, "Yeah, Steph chews on his mouthpiece
that
too
mouthpiece
long."
thing.
You know,
I was
it's
like,
like,
oh,
I
my
don't like
God.
him.
So last night, no Bradley Beal, no problem for the Suns.
No problem. They better get used to it. There's going to be a lot of those nights where there'll be no Bradley
Yeah, you
Beal.
want to make it to the first game.
First game.
You should be able to make it. Can we baby him in preseason so he makes it to the first
I thought
game?
everyone's playing all 82 games this year. We got the new player
Absolutely.
participation
It's
policy. First game,
mandated. Yep.
got a little tweak in my lower
And
back.
he's got the back, which you can't question. We talked about that
Yeah,
before. If
no.
you're going to sit out, hey, my back's bad. Okay,
Well, yeah,
no problem.
I always say, yeah, he may have a bad back. In that case, it's like, boy, what you guys going to do? You got about 3 years of $50 million left on that one. And Whitey and I were talking in the car.
Sure,
In
absolutely.
the car show.
I understand it.
Carson kind of X-rated today, by the way.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can
Yeah, it
imagine
was.
you two guys
I was,
chopping it up.
Yeah, I was off, kind of off the rails,
Not safe. NSFW, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those things where Bradley Beal, Eric Gordon may be just as valuable to that team as Bradley Beal
I
would
love
be.
Eric Gordon. Yeah.
I mean, because he can really shoot and he stays out of the way and spots up, and of course Booker and Durant.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean,
well, that's the thing, though, Jerry. You look at them last night, they didn't have Beal. Durant, by his standards, was kind of bad.
Kind of
And they
bad.
came out, and obviously Booker was great, and Gordon made a big shot late, but really didn't shoot the ball well. Kogi was fantastic.
Yeah. He
was.
But
He was
they
all
got
over
to
the
feel
place.
pretty good on the road, winning by a dozen.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
When one guy sat out, one guy didn't play well, and they still. And the question for those guys is, what is everybody else going to do? And at least for one night, everybody else was pretty good.
Yeah, I think their depth is a little better than I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be, and
That's something you pointed out, I think.
and,
Yeah,
and
well,
so of course
Nurkic surprised me.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been
Nurkic-
getting kind of bad-mouthed by people. You listen to podcasts and read articles. And it's like, well, he doesn't bring anything. Well, maybe not, but last night he brought a lot.
The Warriors are really small, too. That was a good
Yeah.
matchup for him, right?
Well, I do think Nurkic brings what they really wanted from. I mean, I think Ayton's a much more talented
Sure.
player, but Nurkic is tough, and he sets great screens, and he's willing to play without the ball.
And you can run your offense
Yeah,
through him a
and you
little
can-
bit.
yeah,
and which
he's
is-
not a bad-
When
yeah.
you don't have a point guard, that's
Yeah,
useful.
yeah, very useful. And of course, I always remember when Nurkic was traded to Portland instead of Jokic. A lot of people said, "Hey, they're trading the wrong guy."
I know. A lot of
wrong
them couldn't
kid.
tell them apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't
Yeah.
tell them apart anyway.
You know,
Didn't know
had
which one they were
They
getting.
had to pick. They're trading. It's a little bit like the Monta Ellis and
Yes.
Steph
Yep.
to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee. We don't want Steph. He's too injury prone. We'll take Monta Ellis. It's like good move, guys.
It didn't always work out.
Didn't always work out.
Yeah, Phantom. I thought, I thought that was one of those games that you're not supposed to be able to rest your players for. A nationally televised game. They got all these rules and
Yes,
everything, and then
first game of
first
the year.
game,
Yeah.
Bradley Beal, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think that rule's going to work.
Well,
what do
they
you
got-
think of the other? What do you think of the anti-flopping?
I love the anti-flopping.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard to enforce correctly.
Yes.
but I don't mind. I don't care. I mean, there's some of them. It's like we talked about in football, where they have an eye in the sky to look back down at egregious things that the refs miss. So you can do that in flopping too, and they can come in after the game's over and still fine you for it and stuff like that. I like it. I think it's a step in the right direction. It may not be perfect, and I know you don't like anything that Mr. Silver does.
Yeah.
But in this case, I mean, at least he's trying to do something, and I guess it's the same way with the load management rule. At least he's trying to do something. It's obviously
It's for
imperfect.
appearances,
It's
too, I think.
obviously imperfect. Yeah, it definitely is, and it's for appearances. But you got to satisfy your partners, your broadcast partners. Hey, we're going to make it so all these guys play in the big games, and like you point out, well, game one, night one.
Aren't you all about satisfying your partner? Isn't that?
I try to be. I try to be. Yeah.
And I failed miserably.
Well, no, it's true.
Stones is waving that one off.
No,
I don't know.
I do that by staying away. That's the way I do that.
Yeah,
There's
no.
different ways to do it, Jim.
No,
I know you think. I know you're working blue a lot these days, but that's not the way I look at it.
But you know, to your point about Commissioner Silver, I have been very critical
Yes, you have.
of him, and I think deservedly so.
I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah, but I do like what he's trying to do. I mean, I can, I can adjust.
behind that.
I don't know if it'll work. I'm like you, like the flopping. But the thing is, we have these calls charge block, which is obviously judgment.
Yep.
And you're, to some degree, you're guessing a little bit. Well, that's all what flopping is. You may guess wrong.
Basically, yeah.
But at least you're supposed to guess.
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, okay, maybe it wasn't a flop. He really got hit that hard. But as an official, I think he's flopping. So
That's my question for the experts on the panel. What if Stones? I'm guarding Stones.
Yeah,
I'm shutting him down.
should be easy enough.
right? He's having a rough.
What is he
night.
average 2.7 a game or so? Why are you putting?
So he dips his shoulder to the chest,
Yeah.
and he hits me. And I know he's going to hit me, but I exaggerate a little bit. So both things are true. He runs me over, and I flop. What's the call? Does that mean it's not an offensive foul if they rule that I flopped? Can you have both? Do you have to have neither? I don't know the answer. I'm just wondering.
No, it should be a foul and a flop. That's what
Yeah,
it should
foul and a
be.
flop? Okay.
I think
So-
I got that.
Foul and a
I think
flop,
I got
baby.
that at Denny's once. A foul
Yeah,
and a
the
flop.
FF. The FF.
Okay. I mean, that makes
I
sense, I
like
guess.
that.
I like
It-
that.
It does. It will kind of slow things down a little bit again as you try to explain exactly. Okay, the foul's on 15, but I got a flop on 22, and you got all kinds of stuff going
as
on
we
there.
know, the officials now are just enjoying
Oh,
themselves.
they
on,
do. Last night, the guy. Oh my gosh, I thought he was auditioning for Star Search.
I know. I'd never seen this
Yeah.
before. The official says, look, before I tell you the ruling, you won't believe what happened to me today at the store. Right? It's like, come on.
The 3 guys walk into a bar. This is incredible. Let me tell you the story. Yeah.
No, it's used to be they just try to get it over.
No,
get it
not
out.
now.
Now it's like
Yeah.
a real production.
Yeah.
The guy's got to talk to his
How are you?
agent. Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah.
My agent says I have to start with a joke. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Some of them are better at it than others.
yeah,
Yeah,
some are.
absolutely.
Some are longer than others. and
It's all
some give you a lot
transparency.
more information than you need.
What about the other one, Phantom, which would be, of course, I win my challenge, so I get another challenge. That's the
I
other.
like that, except for even if you do that, your second challenge, whether you win it or not, you still lose your timeout.
Well, sure.
So if you don't have a timeout left, it doesn't matter if you won your first challenge because you can't use your second challenge anyway because you don't have a
Gotta hang
timeout.
on to your timeouts.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously,
But that is kind of weird.
But it's weird. It's like we're going to reward you for getting it right the first time.
A little bit.
But there's a penalty along with, like a flop and a foul. There's
Yeah.
a penalty along with your reward. So it's a little confusing, maybe.
A little bit. You
Yeah.
know, what Whitey was explaining yesterday on his show, the Whitey Gleason extravaganza.
Yes,
You know,
I've checked it out.
Drive
many
guys,
times, yeah.
Kyle
Yeah,
Draper.
Been around
yeah,
there,
yeah,
yeah.
Kyle helps out. Yeah. So anyway, he's talking about the Steve Kerr. You know, he's close with Kerr.
He is
know.
close to Steve. I don't think he's as close as he once was.
This whole
No.
Kings Warriors thing has kind of driven a wedge between us.
And the fact that you're now hating the Warriors is not going to help him with Steve.
No, well, we got to put the wedge in there for good.
Yeah, I agree.
We got
I
to
agree.
we've got to nip that in the bud. But anyway, he'd mentioned that Kerr would prefer just to get away from all challenges and just
play the game.
And
I'm good with that.
Yeah, well, that's what the more I've thought about it, I'm with you. Just get rid of it. Let the guys call the game, and if they miss them, they miss them like they used to. And of course,
They still miss him anyway, right?
You're
Even
gonna
with
miss
the
him anyway.
review,
Even
so-
with the reviews,
and the explanation. The guy
Yeah.
gives the explanation, it's still missing. And it would also eliminate guys going like this every time they get fouled. They go, we got to look at that. We got to look at that, man. Come on.
look at that.
And then they showed it, and he punched the guy in the stomach or something.
No,
it's like shows
no,
that he
you'd
really
be-
foul.
I-
Get rid of that.
You know why that makes me mad? Because you know the commercials now where people do that, they have some domestic dispute.
Yes, and they throw the red flag.
That was my idea before it was even on TV, and I was on the radio talking about that. Next thing you know, there's commercials everywhere. That was my idea.
Wow, I know how you
I'm
feel.
sorry.
It's
I'm
happened to me
sorry.
like
Well,
a
that's a
dozen
good
times in
idea.
my
I
life.
know.
Yeah, it was a good
I got
idea.
nothing for it,
Yes.
Jer.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, that kind of goes with this whole group, and when
Yeah.
you really get down,
We
to
get
it.
nothing for all our ideas. I know.
And Phantom was amazed at a commercial he saw last night.
I was. I was a Google. I think it was a phone commercial. I can't really identify the commercials for what they're supposed to be promoting anymore. But there was a guy on there who was pretending he was a play-by-play guy, and he was talking about Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, there's a couple because there's
Yeah.
ones like, oh, I could be a prospect,
Yeah,
and then there's the one I could be an announcer.
And he was talking about Jimmy Butler, and then he was adjusting the noise factor on his phone or something, and impressing somebody. And then the commercial was over, and he heard this voiceover go, "If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball." And I'm like, "What?" That's exactly.
Richard Jefferson's in that one too, right?
Yes,
and I
he
think
is.
Taylor
He's on
Rooks.
Is that who that is? Yeah,
Yeah.
They're on the baseline. Yeah, and then she's
Yeah.
sitting next to him, and he's showing her how to decrease the sound or something.
Yeah.
and then you get the if you don't like it's a voiceover. If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. And Jerry, I was
I didn't
taken
notice
aback
that.
by that. I was like, wait a minute, that you can't say that. I
Wow.
don't
You cannot
think.
say
Or
that. That
can
is
you?
Grant Napier.
But is it legally? I mean, legally, you could probably say that. I mean,
I guess you can. I don't know.
when
but
You
We'll
know,
find out.
don't say it honestly. Don't say it. But you know the Michael Buffer thing, and don't say
Yeah,
it.
you
but
can't because
he
he
had
got
that
it, yeah.
trademark.
Yeah.
and he makes a ton of money because people on the radio say it all the time, just kind of as a joke. And he has some sort of computer program where
Algorithm or
yeah,
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And he makes a lot of money off of that. So if Grant had.
But it's
if
just
he
like
had
really
trademarked that-
singular Grant. It's not like,
Yeah.
well, there's a saying that a couple of people say, and we're going to adopt it for this commercial. But it's just one, as far as I
don't
know.
trademark
yeah,
it, though.
I know, but it's
yeah,
just
I've
one
never
guy.
heard. Yeah, I've never heard of anybody other than Grant saying that, or put it in the book and send them to the line.
Well, let's don't go overboard, Jerry. I mean, this is the one of them.
We don't need to go through the whole catalog.
His entire, yeah.
No, I've got a couple
Go
more,
through his
but-
entire set. You know what I mean? Okay, what do you got for tonight? I got about 10 minutes. You know.
Okay, I
But
stand,
it was
I stand
shocking
corrected.
to me. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just that I was shocked
I
by
hadn't
it
even noticed,
because
and I
it's
know the
so-
commercial, and I didn't notice that.
It's totally obviously you identify it with Grant, but I would think that maybe much of the country has no idea where that came from. Hey, that's a pretty cool saying, or not. But
Well, the country
that-
needs to wake up and
isn't
think
that
about
true in
it.
so many things? Though,
Which
Jerry?
country, though?
Yeah.
This country or Thailand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
You don't
I mean,
like that?
well,
You
I
don't like
think,
TWA
well,
or
I mean,
Taiwanese basketball?
You know, Grant's very close to Thailand, so, or involved there, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
many
Good
interests
for
there,
him. Yeah.
and so maybe that should be added into the equation.
I just wonder if he at any time thought about trademarking. I know you don't usually think about that, but
I would have never
for
thought
somebody,
anything
yeah,
like
for
that, I
somebody
don't
all of a sudden
think.
comes back.
Yeah.
I know you guys were into commercials before.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's nothing new to you guys.
I got to
No.
tell Kyle Draper because he's got that. Get that shot out of here. I got to tell him.
Whoa,
you got to
hey,
trademark
hey,
that.
yeah.
Well, I've heard that for years.
Oh,
I
wow,
said
you-
that to my son when he was
Did you?
taking a couple of threes.
All right, but if he trademarks it,
Yeah.
it's his.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think it's trademarked, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll tell
okay.
him.
Well,
I'll
I
tell him.
think we've that's.
I did not notice that, fam.
Yeah. Well, next time you see whoever that is on that commercial, stay around to the end because there's a post credits.
It's a very well-known person whose name we can't come up with.
I have no idea who it is.
Apologize.
But we got Richard Jefferson and Taylor Rooks, so that's good.
Yeah. I called her Sean Rooks once, and someone pointed out to me
Probably
that's
not right.
Right.
No.
Probably
That's
wasn't
not good.
right.
That's-
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
No, mistakes can be made, though, right?
they
I mean, they
can.
can be made.
By
Sure.
the way, Richard Jefferson, I thought with Mark Jones in the last one preseason, I thought he did a great job. I really think he's.
When he's trying to announce a game and tell you what he thinks, he's fine. When he's trying to be whatever guy ESPN wants him to be, it's like you're annoying.
Yeah, when he's on the studio show, I think he can be very annoying.
Right. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's really him. Yeah.
So when he's trying to be a character, they want him to be a
that's
character.
my opinion,
Just go analyze basketball. That's
Yes,
what we want you
please.
for. Talk about basketball because you know an awful lot about it.
Sure
But let me-
does.
So go
yeah.
ahead and tell us about
But
it.
when you're on a show with Kendrick Perkins and Malik Andrews, come on.
Yeah. And why
Well,
are
I
his
don't even
ears
know
so
how to
small?
respond to that.
You know, okay.
Why are Richard Jefferson's ears so small? Has anyone ever answered that?
That's a good topic for next week.
I don't know how he wears like eyeglasses. It's like they keep.
I have never.
They're specially formatted.
He's got
We
little,
know that. Yeah.
little baby ears.
To me, they are. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, yeah.
yeah. Well, as you say, wonderful player, and I'm sure
Yeah,
peach
great
of a
guy.
fella. Yeah.
Nice
Well,
guy. Yeah, knowledgeable fellow. Great player
Very
in college
knowledgeable,
and everything.
extremely.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
But
what is?
no.
I don't know what Stones is doing.
Well, Stones has small ears too.
Oh,
Yeah, he
I'm
does.
sorry. I hope I
Those
didn't
are-
offend
very
anyone
small
with.
ears.
Barely, yeah.
He
He
does
just
not
barely
like you
got
to-
anything to magnify the sound, does he?
I'm going to hear from all the SES people, small ear syndrome.
Oh
people,
my
and
gosh!
I
yeah.
apologize.
Well, the
I
president's
really-
right here, so it's
Yeah.
okay. So you're all right.
Well, I've got one ear lower than the other, so that's
I
Which
got one ear higher than the
Let's
other.
see if we
Yeah.
can guess which one.
You guess one, I'll guess the other.
I mean, my glasses are, a little lopperjawed. Have to kind of tilt them. So.
I know Laffy John. That was a good cartoon.
All kidding aside, now you guys have had your fun.
Yeah, we've had our jokes.
How about the Kings this year? How can the Kings be better this year than they were last year?
Score more points and give up fewer points.
That's not as easy as it sounds, is it?
No,
Especially
it
the
isn't.
second part.
I think the second part is the real problem, and so when you basically have pretty much the same guys, you have and Vesnikov is not really an answer defensively. So I think the only improvement defensively, as we've talked in the past, that it's the fact continuity itself should give you a chance to be slightly better.
I agree.
And slightly better is better. And they're going to be really good offensively, so that may give them a chance to move up. And then coaching moves, which I don't think Coach Brown would agree with me on this, but I say get Davion on the floor more. Just
At whose expense, or who do you have on the floor less frequently in order to get Davion more?
it would probably be Herter. Mm-hmm. Herter or whoever's playing that position.
They do seem to be tinkering with that spot a little bit.
I think they are, and I mean, I think, the reason not to do it is say, well, a small backcourt, Fox and Davion. Well, there's a bunch of backcourts not any bigger than that are really good.
Yeah.
And I guess my real point is if you're having problem defensively, wouldn't it help to have your best defender on the floor?
That's us, Phantom. Mr. Basketball.
What do you think?
I think you're right, Jerry. So why did we talk? You talked about it last week. Is like the defense. Really worried about the defense. And we kind of went, oh yeah, all right. Then I watched the game. When was it, last Friday, or whatever? And I was like, yeah, that's.
Well, wait, that's significant because you're Mr. Defense
I'm
Defense.
I'm Mr. Defense Defense, and
Did you have that trademarked? By the way?
and I did not, and it's going to cost me dozens of dollars.
Yeah.
So I am worried about the defense, and we talk about the health thing. Put that to the side. You're going to get as many injuries as you get. But what worries me, Jerry, and I'm Mr. Offense, as you know.
Yes.
What if they don't score as much as they did last year? Because that defense isn't going to. I don't think it's going to get appreciably better. So then, to get that margin that they had last year, I think it was 2.5, something like that. You got to score at 118 a game. What if they make one fewer shot? What if it's 116? And I know that you're talking about 3-pointers. You're talking about Davion Mitchell. He's 10 for 26 in the preseason, which everybody's hailing. Well, look, he's at 38%. Obviously, it's a small sample size, but he was 4 for 6 in that last game. So going into that last game, he was 6
He's
for
shooting
20.
the ball a lot better.
So, but I mean, still, he was that last game, but 6 for 20 the first 4 games is 30%. So obviously we think he'll be better. I don't know how much better. I'm just worried that they won't score. Teams are not. They're not sneaking up on anybody. Last year, I think they snuck up on people for a while. They're not sneaking up on anybody this year, and I'm worried that they won't be able to put that point total up on the board.
What a sunny outlook from
Yeah.
Mr.
I'm
Basketball.
sorry, but I've
Great,
got to
boy.
be
God.
very, watching a couple of games, I go, wait a minute.
Really
and
looking
again,
forward to the
I have
season
to
now.
say this. I know I'm wrong. Sabonis, quit going coast to coast. I can't take it anymore. He gets the rebounds, which he does at a fantastic rate, and then says, I'm going to go up the court, and then he gets into no man's land between the free throw line and the midcourt line, and he has no idea what to do with the ball, and he can't take it to the hoop because he just doesn't have that skill set, and I don't know what he's going to do. He turns around to look for other guys to pass it off to once he gets into the front court. So I mean, it's great that he gets the rebounds. If you want to move the ball into the front court, fine, then get it to somebody quickly. But I don't like when he's trying to do this coast-to-coast thing because I don't think it fits him.
I wouldn't disagree. I like the way he busts out of there with the ball.
Absolutely.
And, I
Put pressure on the defense,
yeah,
Jared.
absolutely. And I'd certainly be nice if he could find a guard by the time he got to the midcourt line.
Okay.
Because they're supposed to be better at it. I'm not totally sure they are, but anyway, yeah, I think that that's one of the great things he does. I mean, he'd bust out of there and create some numbers to put the pressure on the D. But
They want Keegan to do that more too.
yeah, and
I just don't think you can create as much pressure as you want to if you can't take it that final 15 feet, though, because I don't see him ever really doing that. And I agree that getting the ball into the front court and starting things quickly is a great idea. But I just don't think he has that skill set to get it further, to get it really set up. So when he gets it across half court, maybe like you say, maybe you get it off to somebody very quickly and set yourself up. But him trying to go, and sometimes he'll go a little bit deeper into the court, and then he's got to turn around and look for someone to hand off to because he really doesn't know.
Face
what
it,
he's
you
doing
just
here.
don't like the idea of a center bringing the ball up. Isn't that what it's
I
about?
do if he has the ability to take the ball to the hoop. If they're trying to stop, if he gets a one-on-one situation, if he can turn and maybe use that hesitation dribble that we always talk about, if he can get to the hoop, that's fine. But I don't see him having that skill set. I don't see him able to drive to the hoop like that from like 20 feet away or whatever it happens to be. So yeah, I don't like that part of it. I love him on the defensive board and everything, grabbing the board, getting it going. You always want to be moving, but then it kind of stagnates there.
You don't like glass backboards either.
I don't.
You don't
I
like
like the little fan backboards when they're
Oh,
the
I
white.
hated
Oh, those are fantastic. Fan backboards. Fan backboards.
man, that's really
Jerry,
sad.
come on. You played at your share of them. Come
Yeah, I
on,
did. I didn't like any
in
of 'em.
Indiana, I'm sure they had those.
No, they didn't.
The
They
worst
have
is
full
there's
cro-
not enough backboard to bank sometimes,
No,
and I'd
yeah.
play, and I like use
I know.
angles like hey, hit the top
You
of the
want to be
backboard.
like
Where's
Will,
the rest
Will
of the
doing
backboard?
the fadeaway backboard
yeah,
off the backboard, and
it's
you can't.
the corner. Yeah,
no,
I don't like
Kareem's
that.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, maybe I was off.
To
on that.
your brilliant point about Sabonis, I agree mostly. I like the way he busts out of there, but my feeling is always you're wanting to put pressure on the best way if you want to get ahead is actually passing the
ahead.
basketball, so he could bust out of there and throw it ahead.
I would
more.
love that, Jerry.
Yeah, and
I
then
would live for that.
and then you're still probably transition defense being what it is. You're still not necessarily going to get, but you're into your offense. With 18 seconds on the clock. Your shot clock, and now Sabonis keeps running because
Yeah,
he's going to run,
and he's beat the other center
and they
down
can
court.
kick it back to him
Yeah,
and play off
absolutely.
of him. So that would I would agree
we are-
to a degree, but I would never take away his ability to rebound and push it out because that creates some pressure and numbers right there.
And I
that-
think that's
that very
one of the-
few centers can do.
Right.
And
I think that's one of the reasons they scored so many points last year. That was,
I
that
do
was
too.
part of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I mean, and yeah, you start. If you ever say, you got to rebound and then find a guard for you, well, you're taking away something.
He doesn't even think you should be able to dribble because in the old days it was just
No,
pass,
no.
pass,
Well,
pass.
yeah,
well,
they-
when I started, Jerry, we had 5 players on one side of the court and 5 on the other, and you didn't cross over. So I was never a great
So
defensive player.
so you played girls basketball in Iowa.
I did, and I was second team all league. So there you go.
I thought you should have been first team.
I thought so too, but I got a tie. It was a tie.
Well, I
actually.
mean, I think there's different styles for different times. I always, of course, recall the great combination of Stockton and Malone.
I do recall
well,
them.
Utah, basically every time, I mean, they'd rebound the ball and find John Stockton. And then Carl would run. I mean, that's every time. I mean, if somebody didn't find John Stockton, they would no longer be on the court.
or in the state
And it's
for
funny
very
because
long.
that's-
Yeah, and maybe
They'd be playing
traded.
girls basketball in Iowa with
yeah,
a Phantom.
which is not that easy.
But I mean, it worked for them because they were just looking to, they could score 95 points. That's enough to win.
Yeah.
But
Early
I
offense, we don't get it, we pull it out.
I always
Yeah.
thought Lonzo Ball was that kind of a point guard, and obviously not as good as John Stockton. But I always thought he was the kind of a guy that you come out, you get the board, and you look for Lonzo, and he gets things going.
Yeah.
Ideally that's the way. And when he first joined the Lakers, they didn't do that. I remember a couple times Kuzma would get the rebound and just look at him and just take it to the other side.
Yeah.
And I always thought that wasn't the best utilization of Lonzo Ball, because I
No.
think he was like you said. That's if you have him on your team, that's the kind of approach you're going to have. It doesn't mean you're not going to get the ball down court,
Right.
but you're going to get it to this guy who
You're
gets
gonna-
it down
yeah,
court.
no, I
So-
agree with that. I mean, I think, with Chicago, I mean, before he got injured
Yeah.
2 years ago, that first half of the year, he was terrific.
I think we got to wrap it up here with our predictions. Are we
Oh,
up for
boy.
that? How many times will they light the beam this year? So that's how
Okay.
many games are they going to win?
They're going to win. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Mr. Negative. Now we'll see.
Well, last year was 48 and 34. I think we've talked before that we think they could be better or just as good and not win as many games. I'm looking right at 46 and 36, right in that 45, 46 area right there.
Yeah.
I'm going mid, and I'm projecting them right now to be 5th in the Western Conference.
Well, I'm more 46, 47,
Ooh.
and predicting probably 6th.
Okay, I see how that works. You're a more number, less position. Yeah, that can happen. Absolutely.
Really not because of anything you said. 'Cause
No,
I don't pay that
obviously
much
not.
attention.
You
but,
really pay attention to
that
that.
was
Yeah.
my
You
effort.
guys are in the car show, and you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
decided
Yeah.
what you're going to say. Sure.
I'm going 45. I think they're going to struggle. They're going to have to make a deal at the deadline to bring in someone of some import, and I think they're going to finish strong, and I think they're going to get into the second round.
Oh,
So I
What,
think
what playoff positioning will they be?
I'm with you on 6th. I hate to
Okay.
just say what you just said, but yeah,
I have the 4 teams that played last night finishing ahead of them. You think that? I mean, and after last night, I mean, the Warriors were a little bit off because they didn't have Draymond, and like you say, I think it's going to really affect them that they're small.
Chris Paul shoots a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, and dribbles a lot. You know,
Yeah.
he dribbles a lot too.
Yeah.
But I had those 4 teams ahead of the Kings. I had them in 5th.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Warriors, but it's, maybe that's just
He doesn't
me
like
being
the
bitter.
Warriors.
Yeah, I noticed you don't kick back against the Lakers though, even though you hate them more.
Well, I think they're good.
Yeah.
I don't have to like them, but I do admit I think they're better than the Warriors. I think they'll be better than the Warriors.
I was surprised they kept LeBron on the minutes count. Basically, it was 29, 30 minutes in that game, and
Yeah.
they when they were taking him out, it was like when the game was really close. So obviously, they're going to stick to that for at least for a while.
Hey, here's a interesting note on which we'll end talking about Stockton and Malone. The arena where the Kings are playing tonight, they've changed the name of it back to the Delta Center.
Yeah.
The Kings
Oh.
are back against the Jazz in the old Delta Center
That's a
tonight.
great move.
That,
you know.
feels,
Yeah.
that feels so good.
It used to be Vivint Energy Arena. I don't even know
Yeah,
what it
then
was.
they had another couple names. And but to me, it's always the Delta Center.
Yeah, you got some good memories from there, don't you? And probably some bad ones.
Oh yeah,
a
probably
little of both.
Actually, yeah, about 2/3 bad, and then a third good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always really liked the Utah franchise, small market. It, for the most part, has done things very well.
Yeah. Do you know the Kings are celebrating somehow 100 years?
I saw that.
And the
yeah.
Jazz are celebrating 50 years since they started as the New Orleans Jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what a dumb name for the Utah, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
I
That's
guess
on
they
the
didn't want to
list
get
of
new
things you're gonna
uniforms or
change
something.
If you're commissioner, that's on the list of things you'll change. Some of these outdated nicknames.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, Golden State Warriors. You can't be. You're not the Golden State. You're in San Francisco. You can be the San Francisco Warriors, but Golden State counts Los Angeles, Sacramento,
San Diego.
No.
They're up there. Reading up
Fresno.
there.
Reading,
man,
yeah.
a lot of
Chico.
places. Yeah.
Quincy. I mean, Placerville. Yeah, no.
I don't know about Placerville.
Yeah,
We're
but
going to
you
draw
can
the
be.
line somewhere.
You can be the San Francisco Warriors like you were originally.
I think it's kind of funny because they changed their name, as you probably know better than I, to the Golden State Warriors because they moved from San Francisco to Oakland.
Yeah, rather
and they
than
didn't want
be
to
the
held.
Oakland.
Right.
Yeah. So then they moved back to San Francisco, but the name Golden State Warriors was so popular
They can't afford
that
to
they
change
can't.
it. Yeah.
It's not worth their while to change it back to San Francisco. So it's almost ironic.
Well,
although I'm
yeah,
not sure
but
understand
I
that
always
word.
thought. I mean, there was a lot of years where they weren't particularly popular,
Right.
And they're the Golden State Warriors playing next to the Oakland Raiders and the Oakland A's, right in the same area.
Yeah.
Now, stop
Those were
it.
the days.
Cut
by
that
the way.
out.
I'm
Those
not-
were the days.
yeah,
man.
I had one guy one time trying to explain to me why they're the Golden State Warriors, and it's like bullshit. It makes no sense. You can say
He didn't
you
get
can-
very far with you, I can tell.
No, he got into the California this. I said, that's my whole point. They don't represent California.
I didn't mean to get you
Man, you
riled
got
up
him
here
riled
as
at
we
the
wrap
end.
it up.
Come on, do that
But
at the
it was-
beginning.
Yeah.
I think the Sacramento may consider changing their name to the Golden State Kings.
They're-
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Golden State Kings.
Golden
that's
State
good.
Kings.
Yeah, we're the
That's
capital
good.
of the Golden State.
We represent the
that's
state
right.
more than they
That's
It's
do.
our
Right.
state. We're
Let's
running this
go.
state. Golden State
Golden,
Kings.
yes.
We'll see you next time.
That's all we got, man.
Yeah, next Wednesday we're back, right? Yes, of course we are. On the old-fashioned 3.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashion, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.